Well, the other big reform task ahead of Congress is financial reform. Banks pressing for a new approach after Senator Chris Dodd put forth his proposal for reform earlier this week. And that's a big topic of conversation at the American Bankers Association conference in Washington. Bill Grant is the CEO of First United Bank and Trust, based in Oakland, Maryland. With more than $1 billion in assets, they serve communities in Maryland, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We're pleased to have him join us now live from the Bankers Association conference in Washington. Bill, welcome to you. So the American Bankers Association opposes the Dodd bill. Of course, you're a member of that, but I'm curious, you individually, your bank, do you support the Dodd bill?
No, we're opposed to it. We think that we certainly support regulatory reform, but we think that there's still several steps that need to be taken. We believe in the too big to fail doctrine has to go away. We are very concerned about the elimination of the thrift charter, even though we're not a thrift. We also are very, very concerned with curtailing the Federal Reserve's supervisory authority. We think that there needs to be the combination of the Federal Reserve being in charge of monetary policy, as well as being able to supervise and be close to the community banks.
And that latter point
thirdly,
excuse me, continue. Third point, please, Bill.
That's all right. Okay, the third point I would have would be the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that they have in the bill, we think really adds to the regulatory burden of community banks like First United. There's still not enough regulation out there for the non-banks, which really created a lot of the issues of this current recession. And we would ask that they would look at regulating the non-banking industry or the shadow banking industry more than piling on additional regulations on community banks.
Now, why would you prefer to have the Fed in the supervisory role over small and mid-sized banks specifically?
I think the Federal Reserve has a very, very important role, certainly monetary policy, but to the extent they're connected to the communities throughout the country, it helps them to be responsive and understand what issues are facing banks and really to be much more involved in the safety and soundness process for the financial institutions.
Right.
The curtailment that's in the Dodd bill really has them almost as a de facto regulator of only too big to fail banks, and we don't think that's healthy. I think there's a lot of health with having the Federal Reserve not only in charge of monetary policy, but really connected to community banks throughout the United States.
And there has been some concern mentioned of possibly shrinking the Fed's oversight to the largest firms. Would that be disenfranchising to community banks, to smaller banks?
I think absolutely so. I think it would take away a very good regulator option that banks have. Of course, with our dual banking system, you do have the option of being involved and selecting regulators. The Federal Reserve is very, very good and thorough in their regulatory process. And again, that disconnection from the community, I think it could make their job of controlling monetary policy more difficult.
All right, Bill Grant, First United Bank and Trust, appreciate your time from the ABA there today.